No matter how strong storm comes, the nature of sky cannot be changed by storm. So fundamental quality of mind is wonderful.
Hi, welcome to the Global Joy Summit. I'm Doug Abrams, co-author of the Book of Joy, and I am absolutely delighted to be the host today and to interview Mingyur Rinpoche to explore how we can transform difficulty and disturbing emotions into opportunities to cultivate wisdom, compassion, and joy. Rinpoche is a leading Buddhist teacher and a best-selling author of The Joy of Living, Joyful Wisdom, and many other books. Rinpoche, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Rinpoche, I'd like to begin with your own experience of difficult emotions. And you've been very candid about the fact that as a young boy and young man, you suffered from anxiety and even panic attacks. And I'd love you to share a little bit about what that experience was like for you.
Yeah, I think that experience is very intense, difficult. I have fear for storms in my... Actually, I was born in the middle of Himalaya mountain. In front of my house, there's a world 8th highest mountain called Manasilu. So the mountain is really calm, peaceful, but sky is so beautiful. But when there's storm comes, like in the winter, the snowstorm comes and snow go up and down, and right and left, everywhere in the valley. And the summer thunderstorm comes is terrible. So I have this triggered by the storms and also strangers. If someone new people come to in my hometown, I cannot go out there and meet people. So there was a very intense, my heart is speed up. I cannot breathe in. I have headache and the sweating. I was 7, 8 years old. At the beginning, I have no idea what is that. I thought I'm having heart attack.
And your father was a great meditation teacher. Did he help you to navigate that anxiety and panic?
Yes. So when I was 9 years old, I was so unhappy, stressed, tight. And I discussed this problem with my mother. And she said, maybe you can ask your father to teach you meditation. I was very shy, and if he reject me, or if he say you're too young or you're stupid, panic is ruminating all these things. So I cannot ask him. But my mom asked my father, and one day my father said, you want to learn meditation, right? I said, yes. But who told you? Your mom. But he was so happy, and he taught me the meditation that he said, we all have this basic innate goodness. So basic innate goodness meaning everybody has potential, capacity, awareness, love and compassion, wisdom. So fundamental quality of mind is wonderful. He said it's like sky in the mountain. But sometime in the sky there's a cloud and those storm comes. No matter how strong storm comes, the nature of sky cannot be changed by storm. So awareness is always present, free, beyond, though there's a lot of panic. So he said, don't fight with the panic. If you fight with the panic becomes bigger. For example, if you think about no pizza, what happened? We think about pizza more. So, and actually he's right. My main problem is the panic of panic. Fear of panic.
Yeah. So he, so tell it, and this, I think this is a really profound insight about the embracing of the difficulty that you're talking about. And can you tell us a little bit more about how do you embrace those negative thoughts or those negative feelings in a way that transforms them?
So basically, my father said the fundamental quality of our mind has awareness, love and compassion, and wisdom. So these three are inseparable, always together. So first important is we need to recognize awareness within us. So there are 3 steps of that. So first, awareness meaning the mind, the conscious, that we all are not unconscious now, right now. So we are experiencing our own mind. So the awareness meaning knows what you are thinking, feeling, doing, seeing is the awareness, the capacity of knowing. So that we need to connect with that one. We have to connect with the fundamental quality of this knowing and clear. So the first step is through maybe breathing. So he asked me, are you breathing right now? I said, yes. And he said, that is meditation. I thought, what? Of course I know. Of course I know I'm breathing. I'm not dead yet. And he said, in that moment, the mind and the breath together. And we don't need to use any strong focus. Breathing. No need. Just glimpse of our mind being with the breath, knowing that you're breathing in, breathing out. Then in between there, panic may come or pizza will come. So breathing in, another pizza come, breathing out, another pizza come. So what he said, let panic come, let thought come, let bala 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 yada yada come. Don't fight with that. But the important is don't lose with that. Meaning, don't lose meaning. As long as if you still remember your breath, you're okay. You're in the meditation. You're in the awareness. You're connecting with the mindfulness. So this is for me is very important skill that I learned. So not fighting, meaning accepting and letting go, but not lost, present with the breath. So as long as if you not forget your breath, you can have thought, you can have emotion. Right is okay, wrong is okay, blah blah okay, yada yada, whatever happened is okay. So this true skill is really important. That for me is a lifelong skill.
Your comment about the importance of breathing makes me think. I was recently in Costa Rica and I walked into the house where we were staying and I saw a scorpion. And I was stung by a scorpion about 10 years ago in the Grand Canyon and I almost died. And it was quite a powerful experience where my son was holding my hand through the night as I was convulsing, and the poison was rising up my arm. And the guide said, well, we can't helicopter you out, so hopefully the poison will stop before it gets to your heart. Good luck. And so the guide said good luck, and fortunately the poison did stop when it got to the top of my arm and didn't go to my heart, and I was fine. But when I had the experience of seeing this scorpion recently, I had, I guess, some kind of a PTSD experience or a traumatic flashback, and I started having a panic attack and couldn't breathe. And it was exactly what you were describing. And I called my wife, who's a doctor, and she helped me regain control of the breathing. And that really helped to calm the experience. So it seems like breath is this kind of gateway between our mind and our body, and our body and our mind, that you were describing as central for this process.
Yes. So this is the first step. So that normally my father taught me 3 first step of meditation technique. One is the breath. So when he said, when the panic comes, you don't need to fight with the panic, but no need to follow, but just remember the breath, breathing in, breathing out. And another technique is sound. Just listen sound, any sound there nearby you. So sound of birds, car, traffic jam, people are chatting. You can jump to any sound. Just open your ear, whatever available sound out there, and just receiving through your ear. So that's the second technique. And the third is what we call the silent recitation. So for me, I use one mantra, but normally you can make up any word. Let's say, I'm fine, everything's fine, I'm fine, everything fine. In the mind, close the lips and mouth and recite that silently in the mind again. When we can recite that word, then we have to use awareness and mindfulness. Without awareness, without mindfulness, we cannot recite that word. So these three, why there's a three? Because of different personalities. Some easy to connect with the breath, but some cannot. So sound is better for some people. For some people, the word is better. So these three, what we call, at least we have to do 1 month. Maybe every day 5 minutes, even short time, 5 minutes is okay. Consistency is important. Every day 5 minutes, so every day 3 minutes, something like that. Then after 1 month, the second step is to be aware of sensation in the body. So whatever sensation, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral in the body, to be aware of that few weeks, maybe a month. Then in the end, you can watch panic itself. So now panic becomes support for awareness, support for mindfulness, just like breath. Breathing come, breathing out. So panic says blah blah blah, yada yada yada. There are sensation, image, voice, belief, and what we call, when you see the river, you're out of river. So when you see the panic, that means you're out of panic. So now awareness has become bigger than panic, and the panic is just object. And panic is just panic. You and panic are not one. So normally we just make it everything one, making one solid union, what we call singularity. So these three step-by-step practice is really helped me to make friends with my panic.
That's so beautiful. I love the idea of making friends with your panic and making friends with your difficulty. It makes me think of something His Holiness said in the interviews with Archbishop Tutu about how we think of suffering as a negative, but suffering is an opportunity testing us. And so that panic is an opportunity for awakening. It's an opportunity for awareness. It sounds it sounds like a whole different relationship, because so much of the panic is feeling like I shouldn't be panicked. I shouldn't be afraid. And then we go into a spiral of self-doubt or self-recrimination for having the feelings.
Yes, I think the main power for the panic comes from aversion and a craving. Aversion meaning like, don't think about pizza, we think about pizza more. So no panic, I shouldn't panic, I want to get rid of panic. Then it doesn't work. Oh, craving peace, calm, joy, doesn't work. So my father said, calm, peace, joy, these are the byproduct meditation, what we call experience of meditation, but not the essence of meditation. So what is the essence of meditation? Awareness. Awareness meaning this knowing quality, sublime quality of mind, sublime, the luminous aspect, sometimes what we call clarity of the mind. And that is what we call like wave and the ocean. So wave is the panic, but what is in the wave is the water. So water is the awareness. Cloud and the sky. So cloud is awareness, and the panic is, the sky is awareness, and the panic is the cloud. So to connect with awareness, peace, not peace, doesn't matter. Panic, not panic, doesn't matter. In the end, everything can be support for meditation, not just breathing. You can be aware of anything anywhere, anytime. So what I call, you can meditate everywhere, anytime, with anything.
That's so inspiring. It makes me think of this wonderful story that you tell in The Joy of Living about bandits. And I'd love you to share that story and the teaching that you heard and give that to the audience.
Yes. So these teachings are what we call self-liberation or self-antidote. So poison become medicine. So I received this teaching from my father, and special from another, my 3-year retreat teacher, Salji Rinpoche. So he's very kind, and we are just like friends. And one day in India, I washed my face, and small water got inside my ear, and now I cannot take out. Each time when I walk, there's a noise, and I try my best to clean. I become like crazy, crazy. And Sajid Rinpoche said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, there's a little water go in my ear. I cannot take out." He said, "Use more water." I said, "What, Rinpoche? The little water go in my ear, making this suffering. If I put more water, then it will be a big problem." He said, "Antidote of the water, use water." Okay, I will try. So I put a lot of water and do like this. All the water is gone. No more guru. So he said, he told me a story. In the Tibet, there's a bandit, the robbery. And these robberies are having big group, and they organize quite well, and they send many groups, and they rob people, special for business people. They rob their margin and goods. And there's one businessman. He are doing business from China, between China and Tibet. They have to, work for 3 months, and they have to face these robbers, and they have to hire bodyguard, very strong bodyguard. And even the bodyguard is very skillful. They have to fight each other and damage each other. Then one time this businessman was thinking, oh, maybe I can talk to the head of the gang, and I can hire them as my bodyguard. And they talk to them and they hire. So now that is the best bodyguard. They don't have any problem. Everything is safe. So Sajid Rinpoche told me like that. So panic is normally cause of pain, discomfort, suffering. But if we can use panic as support for awareness, love and compassion, and the wisdom, panic can be the best teacher and best friend.
You've turned your bandit into a bodyguard.
Yeah.
That's such a beautiful image. So we've talked about fear, which obviously is, and anxiety in particular, the intense fear, which a lot of people deal with. And many people talk about the fact that we're in an age of great anxiety and fear. I think so many people, whether it's COVID or whether it's war or climate crisis, people are very afraid right now. They're experiencing anxiety, and you have a perspective on the fact that this time is no different than other times. I think that's a very valuable insight. So maybe you could share how this age of anxiety compares to other times.
Yeah, of course, in general, the world goes up and down, life goes up and down, everything's up and down. That's what we call impermanence. But what Buddha said, these up and down are the great moment that we can learn, transform, and grow. If we take it as opportunity and face it, transform it. But the problem is sometimes we give up. So when we give up and then we lost with the panic and fear and depressed, then we will not see the innate quality within ourselves. So the world is based on the individual. If we try to transform from individual, then world will change. The dictators are they cannot change themselves. They want to change the world. So if you want to change the world, don't want to change yourself, world become chaotic. But if you try to transform individually, don't give up. Even you feel like small things, you try to whatever you can make effort for environment, for world peace, for pandemic, whatever. But at the same time, when there's emotion comes in your mind, you can transform into awareness. So how to transform into awareness? Be with it. You don't need to fight with that. You don't need to look for any other peace or calm and joy. Just being with the feeling of panic. Panic becomes support for your meditation. And second thing is what we call love and compassion. So for the love and compassion, first important is we need to understand the empathy, sympathy about others when they have panic. Then at the same time, we use with the imagination practice that from the imagination level, I'm taking others' panic into my panic. So you breathe in. And then when you're breathing out, you wish that other beings are free from panic because of my panic. I'm taking their panic into my panic. And therefore, may they all are free from panic. Of course, it's very difficult at the beginning. We cannot do that. What we call, we can exchange with your future and your past. So maybe in the past, whatever you have, guilt or mistake or whatever, and you take that now and you send your love in the past or in the future. Then slowly someone we like. Then we can do this with all beings. So then panic become support for love and compassion. Number 3, wisdom. So when we look at the panic, normally when we look at the panic, we will have this question, where should I look? Because you can, when you look at the panic, the singularity is no more. You will find only pieces. The piece meaning you might need to look at the sensation, otherwise you cannot find panic. Or there's an image in your mind, fearful, frightful, whatever. And there's a lot of words, the articulation, all these verbals. And there's a belief. So panic becomes 4 pieces. When you see these 4 pieces, what I call panic become like shaving foam. So look like piece of rock, but inside is full of bubbles. Then in the end, you cannot find it even. Even the bubble, panic become emptiness. So these are the wisdom. So these 3 try many different ways. In the end, panic, depression, stress, everything become support for awareness, love and compassion, and the wisdom. Poison become medicine.
You were sparking 2 wonderful memories of Archbishop Tutu, who used to say that we can become oases of peace. And, that transformation of self, that as we cultivate ourselves, we become these oases of peace that spread and ripple out to others and contributes to transforming the world through our own awareness. And then he was telling me how he would sometimes not be able to sleep. He'd become an insomniac, and he'd pray for all the other insomniacs out there, and he'd think about all the other insomniacs and send prayers and blessings to them, which is exactly the kind of Tonglen practice that you were describing, and the kind of sense of taking on that suffering and sending out that compassion and that love.
Yes. So then we feel my panic become purpose now. The sense of the panic become meaningful. Panic become purposeful. So when we have that kind of feeling, normally, if you are doing something great, greater purpose or love or compassion, even the worst pain or suffering comes into you, you will have resilience. You don't mind that the weight is become lighter.
It's like being up with your sick child at night, and you know, transform the experience because of the love. It's not easy to be up all night, but but it's a lot easier when you're taking care of someone you love in that way.
Much easier than hearing the noise from the neighbor.
Somebody else's child, maybe. Yeah, or the neighbor, exactly. The Archbishop Tutu used to say that suffering can be embittering or ennobling. And the way to make it ennobling, to make it kind of cultivate us or do exactly what you're saying and transform us through the suffering, is to make it have meaning and use it for to help others. And it's exactly what you're describing, as you're finding meaning in that suffering and you're using it for a larger benefit and seeing it as not just yourself.
Yeah.
Really, so powerful. So we've been talking about fear and panic. So often people get have a lot of suffering with other kind of what His Holiness is called destructive or afflictive emotions that Buddhism calls, like anger or intense sadness. Obviously, Archbishop Tutu and the Dalai Lama had quite a interesting discussion about, you know, how much you can do away with these states or by cultivating your mind, and how much as human beings we're inevitably going to have those experiences of difficult emotions. What's your sense of how we can work with anger and sadness as well as with fear?
So when we look at the traditional meditation manual books, there are a variety of practices. What we call the different type of people, mentality, and the mind capacity, personality. So variety of those. But of course, now in the West, introduce mindfulness. So only one type of technique is there, but there are so many. So for example, if the hatred or anger, particular practice is love, compassion, but that love and compassion is another way to practice is what we call innate love and compassion. Actually, we all have love and compassion 24 hours. Is embedded with the awareness, embedded with our fundamental quality, what we call basic innate goodness. So for example, what is the base of love is looking for happiness. I think all of you want to be happy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think people are watching this video. Why you want to look at this video looking for happiness? And while you're watching or listening this, you may move like this. You may change your hand position. And you may move your body, maybe lying on the chair. Or so each movement is looking for happiness. Each eyes blink also looking for happiness. Each breath is looking for happiness, not just body. Each thought, each emotion is looking for happiness. So Buddha said, this feeling of looking for happiness, don't want to suffer a problem, is the sign of basic innate goodness. So traditional example is the bird nest. The birds sometimes go out of nest and fly far away. No matter how far goes, always wanting to return to the nest. Why? The nest is the real home for the bird. So we have this feeling of looking for happiness, don't want suffering, and that is the sign of basic innate goodness, like longingness, homesick, wanting to come back to our true nature. And true nature is is the basic innate goodness. It's free from suffering, have the lasting happiness. So, and that feeling of looking for happiness, don't want to suffer, is love and compassion. If you have connected with that feeling about yourself, it becomes self-love and compassion. And connect with the others, wish others to be happy and free from suffering, love and compassion for others. So when we look into hatred, the deeper level of hatred is just love and compassion, actually. But then that hatred filtered by what we call ignorant. Ignorant meaning conceptual mind, the mind of this singularity, permanent, independent. So independent meaning wanting to control, permanent meaning don't want to have unexpected surprise, and singularity meaning my way better, my idea better, my group is better. So these three together become what we call unhealthy sense of self, unhealthy. And this unhealthy sense of self is very touchy, grumpy, easy to explore, burn, easy to become froze. And that is filter that innate love and compassion. So for example, if there's a lamp in the room, and then we bring a glass with a scary image, and the lamp light, maybe Scorpio or Typhoon. For me, the storms in the mountain.
Yeah.
So it covered that the glass and the light shining through the glass, then what will we see? The room is full of scary images, the storm or Scorpio. But actually that image is come from this light. So light is the basic innate goodness, the awareness, love and compassion, wisdom, but that filtered by that ignorance, like glass. So we are continued having the suffering.
And so when, let's say, take anger, for example, where you mentioned hatred, those often kind of are on a spectrum of negative feelings or difficult feelings. Sometimes, obviously, anger can be important, like righteous indignation. Archbishop Tutu and His Holiness obviously have stood for their nations and the freedom of their nations and of their people, and that was as when I asked Arch about that, he was Archbishop Tutu, which we call Arch. He would say, yeah, that's righteous indignation, and I said, well, so what's the difference between righteous indignation and anger? And he said, well, righteous indignation is rarely about yourself; it's usually about the protection of others. So I was driving yesterday, and somebody had a little road rage incident next to me, and I won't say what he said, but I got he clearly saw my driving and interpreted it as somehow an affront to him, and I noticed, like, even before any response, first there was the fear that comes up, and then there was anger. And so then if you're in that moment and somebody's just swearing at you or driving recklessly around you and you get angry, take us through that thought process. What would you do in that moment?
So when we have this instant comes, like this kind of situation comes, what happened? The first thing come up is what we call the subconsciousness or unconscious moment of mind, automatic, suddenly, this is not good, fear and the danger or unfair, or so many these automatic things come up. So of course, first they come, but second, you need to catch. You don't have to fight with it. You don't have to change with it. You don't have to stop. You just recognize, oh, I'm angry. And just see how's your feeling in the body, the sensation. And see this automatic thought. This automated thought has pattern normally. And they're always saying something. Oh, what automated thought are here today? And there's a kind of like belief, right, wrong, should, not. And of course, image. So become 4 pieces. Look at the pieces. Sensation, image of that person, the automatic words, and this is right or wrong or the normal preconcept. So then what we call normal is sometimes anger is okay. So what we call, like when I was young, the 2 men group of men came to listen teaching from my father. And within this group, the 2 men, they're fighting each other every night. They make a lot of noise. My father was in the nunnery in Nepal on the mountain. So they make a lot of noise and fighting each other and try to stop. Sometimes work, sometimes doesn't work. So one night, me and my father, we both are having soup, a Tibetan called tupa soup. And suddenly one man jumped into the room and asked my father, I just fought with another man. We beat each other. Please teach me how to control my anger and hatred. My father said, listen very carefully while having the soup, He said, why are you angry at him? He said, oh, he beat me. He said bad words, and these words hurt me. And the stick, I got pain. And my father said, oh, if that case, maybe you can angry at the word and at the stick. He said, this is stupid logic. I'm not stupid. How I can angry at the stick and the words? And my father said, okay, yeah. He's very skillful normally. He loved listen first. He said, okay, then maybe you can angry at his emotion, the hatred, pride, jealousy, all this. He has no control. Once this ignorance, hatred, jealousy, pride comes, he cannot control, just like stick. You come here to learn this meditation from me because you cannot control your anger and hatred, isn't it? He said, yes, that's true. And he might be the same. If you want to angry at him, then angry at emotion within him. And he said, wow, yeah, I never thought of that before. So I think it's very important to separate a person and the work of that person, the action of that person. So when I was young, I did something wrong. My mother never said, you bad. She said, your action is not good. So we need to separate and we need to see how use wisdom, and through wisdom, sometimes anger comes, or through wisdom and compassion, special wisdom, compassion together with some kind of right, the reasonable anger is okay.
Well, it's your father's skill as a meditation teacher is inspiring me to ask you to lead us in a meditation. Before we do that, I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about the different possibilities of meditation. You were talking about meta-awareness, kind of being aware of your body and your senses, and maybe meditation specifically in the cultivation of joy. Because in the Book of Joy, we included His Holiness's and Archbishop Tutu's practices, and one of the, that sense of being aware of those feelings and sensations and negative thoughts and feelings that people have, and your body. You also talked about mindfulness. His Holiness also talked about analytic meditation, and I don't know if that's useful here in this process as well, but maybe you could tell us a little bit, because he said that was the practice that he uses most. So maybe you could share a little bit about what that practice is.
Yes. So there are many different meditation techniques. One is what we call analytical meditation, as you mentioned now. So that is, for example, as I mentioned before, when we have panic attacks, we look into the panic. And when we look into the panic, what we will see is the pieces. So what we call multiplicity. Everything, every phenomenon has pieces. Actually, there's no such thing as one single in the universe. Everything has pieces, pieces, pieces. So seeing pieces is awareness. So when we look at the panic, as I mentioned, there's a sensation, there's an image, there's a voice, there's a belief. Become four things. And even when we look into the sensation has different aspects: pain, hurt, tight, tension, maybe cannot breathe, and so many different pieces. Images always have so many different pieces. And the words, panic is terrible. So first panic, then is terrible. So many pieces. And in our mind, we make it everything one, singularity. So then looks like panic becomes so strong. So seeing the multiplicity first is analytical meditation. And next is what we call need to see interdependent. So these four pieces, like four legs of the table without having four legs is then unstable. So if we take out of sensation from the body, then there's no panic. If you take out of image, no panic. If you're angry at somebody, if you don't have that image of the person or whatever, then to whom you're going to angry? There's no object. But the word, articulation, if you take out of that, no panic or no anger, no hatred. Or the belief, the base, like if you're angry, this is right, this is wrong, this is should, this is shouldn't. Without that, how you can angry? So all these are interdependent. To see that interdependent, then panic loses power. Not just lose power, becomes support for awareness. Then number three, last one is what we call impermanent. So panic is changing, everything changing. So normally when we have panic, we think my life is doomed. The panic will be here forever. Actually not. It will change. Soon it will change. And right now also changing. The feeling is changing. Image is changing all the time. The voice is changing all the time. Belief also changing. So when we see that, there's an analyzing, sometimes what we call penetrated wisdom, to see the nature of the reality itself. Yes, so maybe I will do a little bit about that.
Thank you. That would be great. Wow, it's fascinating.
Thank you very much. So for this meditation, first we keep our spine loosely straight and close eyes. And first feel the body and relax muscles in the body. And if you cannot relax, also okay, no problem. Relax is awareness, not relax is also awareness. Doesn't matter. Important is you just to be aware of whatever feeling of relax or not relax. Being with that is important. And feel the gravity in the body. And now feel happy about having the body. Gratitude. It is amazing to have this body, isn't it? Having senses, eyes, ear, nose, sensation, whatever you have, is amazing. And we are breathing now. This is wonderful. Appreciate that I'm still alive. And not just the body. We have this wonderful mind. having this basic innate goodness. I have this pure awareness, love and compassion, wisdom, all the time. How wonderful. And of course, sometimes I may lost with the panic, anger, hatred. And you can bring awareness into the hatred or panic, stress, whatever you experience. As soon as if you watch them, you are out of panic and the hatred. Though still there's hatred and panic. What we call when you see the river, you're out of river, but there is river, still river continued. It doesn't matter. And awareness now become bigger than panic, bigger than hatred. You are not the panic. You are not the hatred. You are not the depression. You are not the stress. This stress, panic, depression is just like cloud in the sky. And your fundamental nature is like sky. And that is awareness, love and compassion, and the wisdom. Now slowly open your eyes and rest your mind for a few seconds. And appreciate that to seeing the wonderful things around you. And again, appreciate that you have breathing and you're alive. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche. That was beautiful. And I think I want to do that every morning. I think I want to listen to this whole session every morning. It's really very profound wisdom that you've shared with us. And thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity to be together and explore joy and sorrow, and for sharing so deeply and personally from your own life. I think one of the things that was most just inspiring from the Book of Joy and the Mission Joy film was just how His Holiness and Archbishop Tutu, these incredible luminaries, shared their own humanity and their own struggles. And it's just such a blessing to have guides along the journey. So thank you for being our guide.
Wonderful, wonderful. And thank you very much. And I'm very happy that I can be here and having this wonderful discussion. And thank you very much for your questions. Very interesting and really beneficial for me too.
Thank you so much.